42.7. Now, coming up next, the Office of Special Prosecutor has filed fresh criminal charges against the former Chief Executive Officer of the National Petroleum Authority. That's Dr. Mustafa Ahmed. Now, there are 9 others as well who are in this. The amended charges bring the total to 54 counts, up from the previous 25 after the discovery of new evidence from ongoing investigations. Now, but what's new? Dennis Poberwadam, Esquire, so still with me in the studio. Now, I hear the lead counsel for Dr. Mustafa Ahmed, the former Deputy Attorney General, Joseph Benka, say that the OSP is on an efficient expedition because of these 54 counts right now, the charges we're seeing. But let's see what's new in there.
Well, so when you look at the charge sheets, the old one and then the new one, which is yet to be, they had to take their plea on, you would find that in respect of the old one, the counts were 25. Now you have more than twice that number, 54, on the new charge sheet. Also, when you look at it closely, you'd find that the old charge sheet involved an amount of some 280.5 million Ghana cedis. The new one, the figure is more, because we are looking at some 290.5 million Ghana cedis, approximately. Right. Again, when you look at the old charge sheet, the amount involved was only in Ghana cedis. It was cedi denominated. But then you now find that there's also another money which is in the picture in the new charge sheet, which is some 332,407.47 United States dollars. So these are the things that stand out in those charge sheets. So what it essentially means is that now there's more money involved, and there's also more money generally, but even when it comes to denomination, you have some other money which is dollar denominated also involved. And that informs the reason for which the charges have now shot up from 25 to 54. The expectation is that the next agenda date, it's going to be a long day. And I say so because when they are taking the plea, they read every single thing on the charge sheet. The charge sheet is 41 pages.
And every single word
yes, they will do that. Read. I recall when they were doing for the 25, all those who were in the courts, they looked very tired even by the time they got to count 5. But you had to sit through for the 25 counts to be read. Wow. When we go to court the next time, it's going to be 54 charges.
54?
Yes, and all the 10 accused persons will be in there. As to when it applies to you, you plead guilty or not guilty. So that's essentially...
But in the old charge sheet, they've pleaded not guilty to all the counts.
Yeah, they pleaded all guilty. So you can reasonably infer that with respect to this, they likely will plead not guilty. But that does not take away the fact that they have to be read to, and they'll plead to the charges one after the other. It's going to be a long day on that particular day.
Indeed. And this is one that we're keeping an eye on and see how things will play out. Dennis, appreciate you for this. And stay with us here on Ghana Tonight, because the coming days is one to watch, especially with the promise by the Office of Special Prosecutor to the Attorney General. And on this matter of Ken Ofori-Atta, we'll give you some more updates on this.
NSA in court.
And indeed. Absolutely.
Within a week.
True.
Yeah.
And that's one to look out for as well. Dennis Poberwadam. The Deputy Attorney General comes out publicly to talk about documents they have requested over the last 2 months they haven't received from the OSP's office, further strengthening Kofi Bentil's point. I mean, how does all of this put together get to you?
Well, first of all, I disagree with Kofi. I don't see why anyone should insist that the fact that the OSP at this stage is pursuing Plan A does not mean that Plan B is not an option that will be taken on board at a particular time. And I don't think that anyone should be seemingly directing or suggesting to the OSP what it should do or not do. All options are open to the OSP. OSP has decided to take Plan A. In the assessment of their case is best, prosecuted with Ken Ofori-Atta here. Mind you, Alfred, you and I, if we're invited by any of the security agencies, would not have this laxity or flexibility of you should be anywhere and so forth. We would have made an effort to come back. I think that if persons as high profile as Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta made a commitment to show up and did not, we should be asking what is going on here. I don't see why right from the beginning they didn't broker a relationship between the OSP and the medical team so that there was understanding around what was going on. In any case, I think it's ludicrous for anyone to seem to suggest that the OSP will want to undermine its own case. I mean, look at all the effort they've put in, how they've been lambasted, told they were being insensitive, told that they were raiding the man's house, all this kind of stuff. You think that at this stage they will frustrate their own case when they wrote to the government to say, please put in this. The very day he failed to show up, let's give them some space. I'm aware that by the end of this week, the special prosecutor will be speaking. The things that have been leaked by I don't know who, you would note that the response of the SP as to what they were going to do in terms of the two requests. One request was nominate some people to be on the team and then provide a docket. For some very intriguing reason, the part that the response had to give on the docket was not provided. It's only the fact that the OSP has said, yes, these are our two members who will be part of the team. So why should anybody assume that there was no feedback on the reportage or the docket? My understanding is that they actually said that, look, there's some new evidence we have gotten, especially when we raided the SNL offices and picked up their servers, etc. We think it is very important to add it to even strengthen much more what we have. So we'll work on that and submit it. So this is much ado about nothing, and I think that it's actually out of place for anyone to seem to suggest that the OSP will undermine its own case. Let's give them this week, and you'll see what will happen.
Well, but if that information wasn't provided, as you said earlier, why didn't the deputy...
Which information wasn't provided?
The specific case of the... You cited the information in the leaked document.
It wasn't provided at which point?
And the portion where the responses that you referenced.
Yes. No. You will see that what was leaked, they give up to the two names that was provided by the OSP, but don't provide the page or the part of the response that dealt with the request on the docket. And I'm wondering why anybody would do that. This is an unnecessary tension being brought up. I mean, this is a case that is sensitive. We should not be having these kind of leakages. I'm even wondering whose interest is being served by all of this.
Well, but the Deputy Attorney General didn't even mention that at all.
Did he mention what?
The specific is the one that you question, that I mean that aspect that was concealed.
I'm not relating this to the Deputy AG's comments at all. I'm just saying I'm actually curious as to who leaked it and why they kept that part of the response out. It has nothing to do with the Deputy AG.
I see. But then again, does it in any way raise concern that all this while there appears not to be progress in this particular case, and then the Deputy Attorney General coming out to now state that, look, for the past 2 months, documents have been requested and they have not received the said document. It sends a certain signal, doesn't it?
No. I mean, listen, the case is being handled on oral. One of the comments that has been made by the AG or whatnot is that citizens, slow down. Look, we need to take time to handle these cases carefully. Yes, an OSP that on the 2nd of June, when Mr. Ofrete didn't show up, same day, wrote to the Chief of Staff. And the Chief of Staff responded by the next day. AG wrote to the AG the next day. AG writes to them on the 13th. By the 20th, they had responded, already nominating their people. I mean, clearly, of course, this is not a group of people who are sitting back just waiting for things to happen. But they have said that there's much more information that harvests that persons as well. Other cases other charges they want to file. And so, I mean, if they have nominated the two people and the AGs had actually nominated these two people and the 4 people were meeting, I'm sure that George Joy would have resolved this. I don't think this is a matter where suddenly somebody should suggest that the OSP itself is frustrating its own case. Mind you, for all purposes of the actual court case, it's still going to be the OSP's case because under the law, it is their mandate. So whatever happens at the end of the day reflects on them and their capacity. So I think this really is out of place. I'm wondering who wanted to engineer some confusion or tension and for what purpose. I'm not quite sure what this suggestion that they are delaying when in other cases, including the oral cases, we are saying we need more time to do things right. I really can't get what the intention is behind this.
Well, we'll say the assurance from the OSP's office is that by end of week, these documents that the Attorney General is asking for will be provided. So let's all keep our fingers crossed to see how things play out by end of the week.
I think it's even more important to note that a lot of the things on the checklist that is required for this extradition request have already been done and provided by the OSP. Let's not seem to suggest that it is just the docket. There are several other aspects of it which had already been provided. You know, so if you don't give the narrative right, it will seem as if they've just been hanging on, and you know, that's not the case at all. That's not the case at all. And they actually gave a response saying that, look, on the 12th of June, mind you, I think that, no, it's rather the 10th or the 12th of June. The response came from the request came from the AGs on the 30th. They said they raided the SNL facilities on the 12th of June and have discovered additional information that they think is relevant.
It was actually on the 10th of June, yeah.
So here's the point. So the thinking of the logic is very clear. So why should anybody want to rush when even in 6 months, other cases they should handle have not been handled? Well, meanwhile, the AGs, with all the YOCOs, NIBs and whatnot, has the mandate and capacity to be looking at economic crimes and other aspects. Have dockets been produced on those as well? Well, I think that this is unnecessary tension at this point. Well, let's allow the OSP the space to proceed and to finish it. At the end of this week, they'll give us the additional information that is required. The AG should file on our behalf, and let's move the process forward.
And let's see how the coming days will look like on this. Thank you so much, Mr. Ano. Thank you for joining us. Mr. Ano is the co-chair of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption. At some timelines, Dennis, we have to round up on this one.
Yes, so we know that early June, the OSP secured a red notice. We have just checked that the former finance minister is still on the red notice. 2nd June, the OSP officially, this was the first time the OSP had written to the chief of staff for this extradition process to begin. The chief of staff transmits that extradition request to the Attorney General because the Attorney General, in the scheme of things, is the central authority when it comes to matters of this nature. 13th June, the Attorney General then writes to the OSP again, confirming receipt of the request, and then also making a request on the Attorney General. 2 things the Attorney General requested for: that 2 OSP officers to join the prosecution, then a copy of the investigation docket. And this is where the matter started. 20th June, OSP replies, provides the names and the contacts of the 2 persons to join the prosecution, and giving an update. Mind you, this is the narrative of the Office of the Special Prosecutor, saying that after giving the names, they also included an update on the OSP, and they said that they were still organizing the case dockets after a search and seizure operation at SML offices on the 10th of June. This is the information that many say has been missing or is missing from the correspondence that have been put out in the public.
Yes.
So in September, the Attorney General followed up again, requesting the docket. Now, 16th October, that was when the document started leaking. The OSP has denied responsibility for the leak. He says that he's not frustrating the process and he will continue to work with the Office of the Attorney General for the way forward. But it's instructive to state that when we hear the Deputy Attorney General speak on this matter, what he says is the fact that they've requested for the docket, they have not got it till date. The OSP has confirmed that yet indeed till date, they have not been able to give the docket because there's a reason. But they say by close of week, that docket will be given.
We'll see how the coming days will look like on the Dennis. Thank you.
Good for us in Garu, and good evening to your cherished viewers and listeners.
It is indeed not so good. The information we got earlier and the sequence that I've just run through, is it consistent with the briefing that you have received from the Regional Security Council?
Yeah, it is consistent from what I've received from all courtesies, including citizens or natives of the Garu township, that 4 people were gunned down and several others injured. Those who were injured were taken to Garu Hospital. Some were taken to other district hospital close, treated, some discharged, but I'm told 4 people are still seriously injured and they are within the Garu Hospital. That is what I've gathered. The assailants, as you heard, came from nowhere, directly went to the National Health Insurance Office to ask for the director of the National Health Insurance, and in his absence, they rather shot one of his staff down and left the place. On their way out, they went to the school, as you've said, to shoot down the head teacher. and continued on the road to pave their way out of Garu, shooting people on the way to be able to leave Garu.
Now, you say that he went there to ask, or the gunman went there to ask of the National Health Insurance Director of at the Garu office.
Yes, that is what exactly happened. Yes. They went and asked of him, and they said he wasn't around. Then they saw one gentleman there who was in his office, and they shot him, and he died instantly at the place. So it became a very sorrowful state. Garu, as we speak now, is in shock. Let me say the whole of Garu is now very alert, and let me thank the youth and everybody for the unity that we saw in Garu today, how they have come together to mobilize to monitor Garu. Garu is a very peaceful town, and we know of Garu is a town that is very observant of new people coming in. If you remember last 2 years, there was a strange vehicle that went to Garu. They tried to understand what the vehicle was doing there. It brought about a confusion between there and government because they had to attack the vehicle to see what was inside. But I think this thing came as a surprise to the good people of Garu. So therefore, the sympathy and love for each other today in Garu has grown so hard that even though we've called security there, I think the vigilance there is now so tight that it will be difficult for anybody again to penetrate the next time to Garu to cause any harm they intend to do. That notwithstanding, I think the military have already arrived there and they are taking good positions to ensure that no one enters Garu. The good thing is that they didn't occur between people within Garu. It occurred, the shooting was done by people who came outside Garu. So there is no panic within Garu people themselves. There's no tension between people in Garu themselves. It is now a united Garu to look for intruders and people who will come from outside to attempt entering Garu. That is the good news, that is not coming from, it is not a conflict within the town. That is the good thing about it.
But
the sad thing is that we lost 4 of our valuable members.
Indeed, and that's what I'm going to get to, because this thing happened in broad daylight. From the reports we're monitoring, as about 10 a.m. this morning.
Yes,
I mean,
exactly. It happened in broad daylight. That is why people were able to run after. Some people were brave enough to try to run after them. When the shooting started and they started running, they ran into some forest and took off and were able to run away from the Garu township. That's what really happened. They first went to the office, as we said. People saw them, even though no one can corroborate the motor number, the number plate of the motors. They were in smokes. And then after they shot the guy, they went to the school on their way, shot the head teacher, then continued their route to wherever they came from.